Landscaping, and Liz is going to share with us one of her recent projects, a Flagstone Patio. Liz, how do you begin the process of a landscape project like this? Because it's a big project, obviously.
It is. The first steps when a client calls us is to set up a landscape consultation. And that is the first client meeting where we go to the home, we talk about the needs of the client and what we want to do, in the landscaping. We take measurements, we look at things such as drainage, any grading that needs to be done. So it's a lot of preliminary work, and those measurements and those notes and whatnot, we come up with an overall landscape design.
Yeah.
So I've showed the design for this project today, and it's a very simple patio off a back deck, and the customer was just looking to smooth and grade out that area and add a little bit more usable space, where they could put a table and some chairs or a grill in the summer.
Mm-hmm. So once that design is agreed upon, what are the first steps in really starting this big project?
So the first steps are going to be, of course, the tear out. So we're going to go ahead and take out any, in this case it was existing lawn, the deck stepped down onto some lawn, so we have to take all that sod out of there. There was some drainage that we needed to take care of before we could do a thing. So there's a couple of downspouts that we buried into pipes and made sure that that was running far out away from where the patio was going to be. We did a bunch of preliminary grading for this project, so you always want to make sure that a patio like that is going to be sloping away from the house. It's just a very gradual pitch, but you just want to make sure that any water that falls on that is going out into the yard and away from the house. Mm-hmm. And then we really start putting in the base. So we have to excavate out quite a bit there. And underneath a flagstone patio like this, you're going to have a minimum of 6 inches, but probably closer to 8 or 10 or sometimes even a foot. Thick compacted stone, and that stone is compacted in layers so that you get 100% compaction there. On top of that, you would put a layer of leveling stone. It's a real small crushed stone in this instance, and that is what you lay the bigger flagstone pieces onto.
Gotcha. Sounds like a lot of hard work and thought goes into creating a flagstone patio, I'm sure.
Yeah. So once that base is there and you lay out all that stone, it's like a giant puzzle. That's a regular flagstone. It's all natural, so it's each piece is different and it all kind of locks together. It's a very artistic way to do a patio, and we just love working with the natural stone, and we use locally sourced stones. Once all that gets spread out, you're going to fill in the joints in between those stones with some crushed stone, and then we top that with something that's called polymeric stone dust. And what it is it's a real fine crushed stone that has a little bit of a bonding agent in it, and you wet it and it sets, and it's a semi-permanent fill in those seams, and it makes it so that you don't get sand migrating out, you don't get some of the ants, you don't get weeds growing in there. But what's nice about that is if there ever was any movement or a piece of stone breaks or anything like that, you can break that bond so that you could lift that piece of stone out to repair the base or the seam, put it back in, and then you put the joint on. So then you would grade up to that patio to make sure that the lawn is meeting the grade at the end of the project, and it came together really beautiful, and this will just give that customer, the opportunity to enjoy that patio all summer long.
Yeah, thank you so much, Liz. We appreciate you explaining that and seeing the finished product. Puzzle is definitely a great way to explain this.
Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Liz Snyder, your home gardener from Hillside Garden Landscaping.
For today's Home Gardener segment and more, head to WBNG.com, click on Around the Tiers, and select Home Gardener from the drop-down menu. If you have any home gardening questions you want answered, send them to liz@hillsidegl.com. Thanks for watching Around the Tiers. Stay tuned, we'll have a final check of your weather, and 12 News at noon wraps up next.
This has been Around the Tiers.